It is November 25th, 2025, and we are in the Habits of Health book, in my version, it is page 182 in section 2.2, but we're already into it a ways. The last recording was earlier, so our bodies are efficient fat storage machines because food sources were difficult to find for our ancestors. Where we can easily open the refrigerator for a snack, our ancestors may have had to go long intervals between meals, so our bodies adapted to the challenge by saving up energy to be used during these lean times. The myth of 3 squared. A study by David Jenkins, the University of Toronto pioneer in low glycemic eating, demonstrated that eating small portions at frequent intervals is good for your health in a number of important and even remarkable ways. The researchers divided their subjects into 2 groups. Both ate exactly the same food with the exact same number of calories, but one group ate their food divided into the usual 3 meals a day. The other ate more often, consuming lots of little meals. Surprisingly, the group that ate small meals throughout the day lost more weight. It wasn't that they were less hungry, although in fact they were less hungry. They lost weight because their blood sugar didn't continually spike and then dip down to an even lower level, the way it does after a big meal. Their glycemic level, the amount of sugar in their blood, remained steady, and their cravings for sweet foods went down. Because remember, Dr. A teaches us that when your blood sugar is high, you cannot burn fat. So if you're limiting your calories, but you're only eating 3 big meals a day, what are you going to burn? You're going to burn muscle. This is part of the science behind what we do. That's why we eat 6 times a day, to keep the blood sugar level and the insulin coming in at a great rate so that it's smooth. Those waves, I'm always doing the little waves with my finger. Those little waves create the fat burn. It's the science behind it, because we're not spiking the blood sugar or dropping below. We're in that wave, which is in the perfect range, and that's allowing our body to burn stored fat. Again, that's the science behind what we do. Each of our habits are very, very important for specific reasons. So that's not all. After only 2 weeks, they found that the people who ate every 3 hours reduced their blood cholesterol by over 15% and their blood insulin by almost 28%. That's key because in addition to regulating your blood sugar level, insulin plays a pivotal role in fat metabolism, inflammation, and the progression to metabolic syndrome. Where have we heard that? Just read it in the book. Even though we haven't been able to refer to it a lot, now we're all over it because the science is proof. When your body produces less insulin, you're much less likely to convert dietary calories into body fat. Your body begins to work differently, and you're no longer the fat factory you once were. So what does this study tell us? That it's not just what you eat, it's also when you eat it. Small amounts of nourishment throughout the day are better than the same amount of food concentrated into 3 big hits. If we feed the body at regular intervals, we send a signal to the body that it doesn't have to store calories. Conversely, when we skip meals, we send just the opposite signals for our body to store calories, thereby creating a negative effect on our metabolism. Science. So eating satisfies our ancient programming, prevents activating the alarm of starvation, and turns off fat storage. It's our modern day version of hunting and gathering. And by adding low glycemic foods to the meals and making them more like our ancient Sorry guys, got an itch. More like our ancient diet, we do even more to control blood sugar and turn off the insulin pump that leads to fat storage. Fat that's crippling our health and leading directly to disease. And remember again, visceral fat, that fat around the middle, and it's underneath the muscle. It creates big, but it like smothers our organs. It is scary, dangerous fat. And fat burn attacks that fat, empties out those fat cells, gets rid of all of the toxic things that our fat holds on to toxins. I mean, it holds on to estrogen dominance. That's what we get to do by simply restricting the calories, using the science behind fueling the body 6 times a day, and allowing our bodies to do what they do best. So we pioneered the use of glycemic index as a practical method of helping turn off the insulin and shifting the body away from fat storage over 10 years ago. Ludwig's, a leading researcher and nutritional expert from Harvard Medical School, published a book 2 years ago, Always Hungry. That reinforces the power of a glycemic index. It's the principal index he uses to help people lose weight without hunger. Now we know that eating smaller, low glycemic meals is a great way to turn off insulin and provide healthier fuel for our body. What else can help us achieve long-term weight loss? I'm going to read the sidebar. The science of 6 fuelings. What are the benefits of eating a small amount of food more often? Preliminary research supports the idea that when the typical 3 squares diet is replaced by smaller, more frequent meals, it can help you lose weight, control hunger, reduce blood insulin, a factor in fat storage and inflammation, lower total cholesterol levels, reduce LDL, bad cholesterol, reduce levels of apolipoprotein B, the very bad stuff. I just love doctoring. Depress glucose levels, increase bile acid secretion, suppress free fatty acid levels, reduce serum uric acid levels, a common risk factor in coronary heart disease, increase uric acid excretion, reduce adipose tissue enzyme levels, reduce fluctuation in satiety, so fullness. Wow, all sorts of stuff, and I don't even know the science behind all of them. Patterns of success. Introduction. You learned that over 58% of people who go on a diet without other behavioral support fail. By some estimates, more than 80% of people who have lost weight regain all of it or more after 2 years. Researchers at the University of California at Los Angeles analyzed 31 long-term diet studies and found that about 2/3 of dieters regained more weight within 4 or 5 years than they initially lost. On the flip side, that means that just under 15% succeed. What can we learn from them? I love that he shifts, and instead of looking at what didn't work, let's look at those 15% that it did work. That's the attitude. How can't I? Or how can I? What do you want to look at? So studies provide some intriguing answers, and one of the most impressive, led by Dr. James Hill and Dr. Rena Wing from the National Weight Control Registry, researchers gathered data from over 10,000 individuals, many of whom lost over 65 pounds and kept the weight off for at least 5 years. The weight loss methods varied But what these individuals had in common were certain core practices that have proven critical to successfully and safely maintain a healthy weight. Here's what they did. They ate breakfast. What a concept. They ate a balanced diet, paying close attention to the amount of dietary fat and calories. And recognize fat is calorie dense, and it can put your calories over the top if you're not paying attention. That is where I lose a lot of my optimizers, is they're not realizing that they're getting so much fat. They increased their physical activity quite a bit. They monitored their weight regularly. So we want to add breakfast, lower the fat content of our food, make sure it is nutrient dense, become more physically active, and monitor ourselves for early warnings of weight regain. These scientifically proven fundamentals are crucial components of our weight loss and long-term optimal eating strategy. Let's put these healthy behaviors all together and see how that strategy looks. The key to healthy weight loss. What's the key? What's the key to successful mastery of both weight loss and long-term health? There are really two main food intake components. The ability to master the amount of fuel you take in and the quality of that fuel. If we can devise a plan that delivers low-calorie, nutrient-dense foods in the proper portions, we will have a recipe for success. Anybody like the 5-in-1 plan or our optimization plan? How does it work? Well, portion size is key. When you eat healthy foods, low glycemic carbs, healthy fats, and high-quality protein in small portions that your body is used to, a magical transformation occurs. As you lower your total calories and turn off insulin by avoiding high sugar, flour, and other high glycemic foods, your body turns to Plan B and begins to utilize the unhealthy fat around your middle to make up the deficit. Remember that 10,000 years old programming we discussed? The storage system of fat begins to be used as it was intended, providing your body with a constant source of calories while signaling it to turn off insulin, hunger, and cravings for carbohydrates. And there's another great benefit. By providing your body with these nutrient-dense, protein-rich fuelings in small portions throughout the day, you protect your muscles from being cannibalized, unlike in some low-calorie weight loss programs. But that doesn't mean you won't see results. In fact, you can expect to lose weight safely and may reduce hunger and cravings. This efficient, safe platform not only carries you through your initial weight loss phase, it also sets the stage for a whole new pattern of healthy eating for life. Let's see how your body's going to respond to this new healthy fueling strategy. So let's do the sidebar real quick. Why exercise alone won't help you lose weight? Trying to fight fat with exercise. You may want to rethink your strategy. When you take in more calories than you expend, especially if they are from highly processed junk foods, the excess gets stored as fat. There are 3,500 calories in 1 pound. Eating just 100 extra calories a day, a bagel, a candy bar, a soda, translates to 36,500 calories of excess energy over the course of a year. Even if your body stores only half of that, the result is over 5 extra pounds of fat a year. Wow, it's mathematical too. You could try burning those excess calories through exercise alone, but in order to burn just 1 pound, you'll have to run 33.8 miles. Just for 1 pound. And nearly 1/3 of us have an extra 30 pounds of fat to burn. That's as much or to burn that much, you'd have to run 1,040 miles or 40 marathons. Crazy, huh? Yep, and there's the math to go with the science. So, your new eating pattern for weight loss and health. And I love this chart. It shows you morning, noon, and evening, and it shows how we fuel the body and how the glucose or the insulin is released, and it keeps us in such a great range where we eat the 6 times a day. You know, you start at morning, noon, and night, and every time we fuel, it comes up just a little bit, and then it comes in and covers it, and then it goes up a little bit, and the insulin is released and comes up and covers it and brings it back down. And always think of the downward part. That's where we're fasting, and the body's really burning. I love that. And then we fuel it, and it releases that insulin. And then when that insulin's coming down, I love to think of that's that fasting piece where the body's really just chewing up our fat storage when we're in fat burn. So, super cool. Let's see, your new eating pattern for weight loss and health. That's a whole different picture than before. See, Modern Life's Disease Past, page 180. So that's the one that I had a hiccup last week showing you that has this is the nightmare of eating the other way. High spikes, and our body's in there trying to cover it with insulin and trying to bring it back down, and it gets too low and it gets way too high, and the body, even if you eat like that and you're eating fewer calories, which I can't imagine, like WW, you know, you can have a Twinkie and it's only 10 points or something ridiculous like that. We really expect our body to thrive on a Twinkie and not eating anything else? Okay.
Can I inject something right here?
Please.
Okay, so our body, when it breaks down, it digests our food. It puts it into the basic elements: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, CHO. And anyway, our body puts it together. So a fat molecule is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. If you're not eating enough calories, if you put yourself into the starvation mode, it will put those carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen together into fat cells. And I learned this. My daughter was trying to lose weight, and she was eating one meal a day, and it was a salad. But the body recognized we are not getting what we're supposed to. And by doing one salad a day, she got up to 400 pounds because your body is going to it wants to save you. So that's why you have to eat the 6 meals a day. You have to have it balanced because your body is going to survive.
Mm-hmm. And that's even people, and that's perfect. That's people on 5-in-1. And again, we've got science behind it.
Yes.
On 5-in-1, people are like, well, the old science is if I eat less, I'll burn more. No, you have to eat it all. And if you want the science to work, you need all of the calories, you need all of the carbs, you need all of the fat, and you need all of the protein. And it's crazy. You feel stuffed sometimes.
Yes.
And your body works like a dream and just burns right through those calories. And the more precise they are with that lean and green and making sure they get all 5, it's just crazy to watch that science and the other habits, getting your water, getting your sleep, recognizing stress and breathing through it, all of those things, add those in. And just exactly.
It is incredible.
That example is scary, but it's so true. I can't believe how many times, well, I don't eat that much. Oh, there's your problem. I have no strength. Well, you've lost all of your muscle mass.
Yes.
It's really
and then
scary.
that helps you gain weight even more. You lose your muscle mass,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And and the hard part, you lose muscle mass, you burn even less calories because muscle mass is active tissue that's burning calories. It's why men lose faster. They have more muscle mass. And I don't know, people people get so grumpy about it. And I'm like, really? I'm sorry. I like my muscular husband. I think he's sexy. And I like that he has more muscle than I do. I love to shift. I don't want to be grumpy about anything. Guess what? I got to pack the babies around because I have more fat. I got to protect them. Again, but that's the Optavia shift. Anything that
Yes.
makes me go, I'm like, wait a minute. How can I like that? But again, if he can lose the weight fast, fabulous. Guess what? I'm going to be more precise than him. If
We've
you want to
got
tell him,
this.
just have fun. Have fun with it. So, wow, great job, Raquel. That's awesome. That's a great example. It's heartbreaking, but it's a great example. So, okay. Bottom. We'll start back at bottom of 184. 184. Well, in the first edition. So what? That's a whole different picture than before. See, modern life's disease path, page 180. That's one we just showed you with the spikes and the lows. First, we've reduced your total energy intake by introducing smaller portion controlled meals and snacks. Second, we've switched to low glycemic meals that keep your blood sugar and insulin levels from spiking. This constant, stable energy source means no more wild swings in blood sugar. You've turned off your insulin pump and taken control of cravings. The next illustration shows the shift in energy now flowing out of the fat cells. Your fat cells will be in a state for the amount of time it takes to reach your healthy weight. Hopefully, you can see why your waist circumference will become smaller and your percentage of body fat will increase as we empty your fat cells and eliminate this unhealthy condition. And remember, empty the fat cells. We talked about that a couple weeks ago, how we empty the fat cells, but they can fill back up. So there's the little picture showing that low-calorie, healthy fuelings and fuel from the food goes into the body, low insulin, so we're in fat burning, and the fuel from the fat cells emptying because we're burning that fuel. And then we drink a lot of water because, again, there's toxins in that fat. So that water is really important because once that stuff is being put into the bloodstream to be poured out and into our urine and other places, we want to flush that out. So we need the fluid. So everything works. Everything works. We can't miss a cog. If we miss a cog, our mechanics is gonna, it's all important. So eating this way every 3 hours, starting with a healthy breakfast, helps you build a whole new energy management system that disperses energy throughout the day in accordance with your body's natural design. And once you begin to use energy more efficiently, your body quickly starts to offload excess calories, producing the perfect internal environment for hunger control and weight loss. That's the science behind our plan. But how will this translate to your daily life? Now, remember again, we've been talking a lot lately that the mitochondria is the little power plant in our cells. What does the mitochondria do? He just talked about this perfectly. So we put the fuel in. The mitochondria is the little power plant that actually changes that food into our energy source. And we've got to keep the mitochondria working really good and keeping it clear, because when we use the habits of disease, it creates corrosion on that mitochondria, and that's when we start watching metabolic dysfunction. We start seeing needing a nap. We start seeing our energy levels drop. We start watching, those very first signs before the doctor even says that the blood work is in that you have an issue. Those are the beginning signs. Skin tags, dark skin around the neck, PCOS, the blood pressure starts coming up. All of those things are happening because of corrosion on those mitochondria, and the mitochondria can't do what they're supposed to because we're overworking them. The pancreas too. That's why there's so much type 2 diabetes coming on people. Okay, sidebar. Leptogenic your brave new world. Leptogenic comes from the Latin word lepto, meaning thin or slender. It's the opposite of the obesogenic world we've been living in. Or my thought very quickly, right away, whenever I hear leptogenic, is my health coach leaping like a fairy with her arms out, or like a ballerina. She always says, leptogenic, like I leapt into a healthy life. It just cracks me up. So anyways, that's my visual of that. Wow, we are out of time. Great information this morning. Thanks for sharing. And Sheila, I loved yours last week. Oh my gosh. How are you doing? How are you feeling with your fun blood work last week and everything? You're still feeling really good and excited?
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing fine. And it's interesting. I I have those far the meals,
Oh, flavors of
the
home.
fresh
Okay.
flavors of home. Anyway, I have those, and I'll tell you, there are times when I need to do that, have one of those because of schedule issues and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And I was amazed at how they really fill you up.
Mm-hmm.
And it lasts. In fact, when it's time to have a fueling, I'm really not hungry most of the
Yeah.
time.
Gotta eat it though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
And that's
true.
and that's a sign of a good fat burn. The hard part is if somebody's like, well, I'm not hungry, and they don't have it, either the next day or the following day, all of a sudden they're like, I'm doing perfect. How come I'm off? How come I feel like crap? How come I'm so hungry? How come I'm craving? It's because what you did the previous day or the day before. So it's really
Hmm.
important to eat all of the foods so that it stays consistent and you keep feeling not hungry, not craving, and the energy up,
Hmm.
because it will impact later. And so when it's time to eat, we eat. But yes, those flavors of homes, I keep them on hand too. I mean, even in optimization, because if something's happening and all of a sudden we got to go out the door and I need a lean and green, and if I don't have anything prepared because I wasn't prepared, I will still use those. I always keep those on hand because they're pretty quick. And yep, they're perfectly balanced. They're a full lean and green
Hmm.
without any condiments. I've got them here in the camper at my dad's house, and I've got them in home in the cupboard. They're shelf stable, and yeah, they're awesome. Just awesome. Full lean
Yeah.
and green condiments. I actually had a guy in COVID. He used them completely. He lost all of his weight through COVID with those flavors of homes and 5 fuelings a day.
Hmm.
He wasn't exercising a whole lot. He wasn't getting out. He didn't want to get to the grocery store. But he lost his weight pretty dang quick, and he was very, I don't know what there was, four or six different flavors. He was using those and did absolutely phenomenal
Hmm.
through his and the transition was a little bit harder, but he had groceries delivered. So anyways, and he's still thriving. So cool. So cool. Okay, guys, thank you so much.
All righty.